A quarterback that was drafted in the same draft class as Deshaun Watson was Mitchell Trubisky. He was a second overall pick in 2017, and after a rough stint in Chicago, where the organization gave up on him, he was scapegoated. He was released. He was embarrassed. He was left naked. He went to Buffalo with Brian Dable, learned more football, learned under Josh Allen, to the point that word got around the league that Trubisky's a hot character guy. And a year later, we noticed Matt Nagy's not the smartest, not the best offensive guy. Maybe he was holding Mitch back a little, right? The Steelers pick him up. 2 years, $14.5 million. It can go up to $27 million in total. I look at Mitch Trubisky. I see a hot character guy. I see somebody who once had 6 touchdowns in a single game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 4 in 2018. I see a mobile quarterback. I see leadership qualities. I look at the Steelers and I see Mike Tomlin, a coach who's never had a losing record. A team that just signed Levi Wallace, Myles Jack, James Daniels. The Steelers aren't going to be a slouch. And I know everybody's hating on Trubisky. But if I was a better man, and if I were to give you advice, I'd put some down on Trubisky for comeback player of the year. And I believe in that.
Must not be strong candidates.
Matt Canada. Oh, no, that's what went into my reasoning. Quite frankly, there's no player I see that's coming back from a gruesome injury that can win that award. I think Jameis Winston played well enough last year to, even if he plays well this year, he won't win it. Maybe McCaffrey. You never know. Trubisky fits Matt Canada's RPO offense. It's a perfect fit. Trubisky has a 29-21 record as a quarterback, 64 touchdowns, 38 picks, 87 passer rating. That's better than a lot of guys in their first couple of seasons. Steelers offense would be Najee, Deontay Johnson, Claypool. Is Juju back? We don't know. But even if he's not, James Washington, Pat Freiermuth.
I believe Washington's a free agent.
That offensive line, maybe they bring him back. I don't know. Mm-hmm. Their offensive line, I think, is going to be better. Kevin Dotson, Kendrick Green, James Daniels. I looked at a tweet that Duke Mayweather put out, who is an offensive lines coach. He said if he was the Steelers, he'd put James Daniels at center. He'd put Kendrick Green at left guard and Kevin Dotson at right guard because those are all their natural positions. And he said this specifically. If they do this, they'd have an athletic and nasty offensive line. They also signed Mason Cole, probably a depth piece.
He's good at run blocking. He's not a great pass blocker by any means.
The start of Mitchell Trubisky's career was sabotaged by Matt Nagy. When they made that trade for Khalil Mack, in the moment, it was a great trade. There's no doubt because they made the playoffs. Their defense was elite. But giving up those draft picks meant they couldn't improve offensively. Paying Khalil Mack that much money meant they couldn't spend big in free agency to give Nagy and Trubisky more offensive help. The offense got worse year by year. Trubisky, I think, has more similarities to Ryan Tannehill than Sam Darnold did. Last year, when Sam Darnold got traded to the Panthers, everybody said, he's the next Tannehill. He's the next Tannehill. People were a year too early. Mitchell Trubisky is the next Ryan Tannehill. He's the next guy that everybody was out on. He's going to have a really good year this upcoming season with the Steelers. They're going to be in the hunt for the playoffs. And we're all going to be looking back at Matt Nagy like, damn, he really messed up Trubisky. We look at Ryan Tannehill now. He had great seasons in 2019 and 2020. In 2021, he went back to the quarterback that he is. Like, he's an average quarterback. I think Trubisky's average. He's between that 14 to 18 range of quarterbacks. Maybe 14 to 20 range of quarterbacks.
That is high.
14?
Brother, that is high. You had to... Oh, my goodness, God. That's high.
And I think Trubisky's going to have a good year in Pittsburgh. I do.
14? Dude, that's high. Go ahead, Joel. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, I'm flabbergasted with the 14th best quarterback.
You said a lot of good stuff. I'm sitting here like,
You're telling me, like,
Okay, 14's a bit high. 16 at 20. That's what I'll say.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that as much.
Joe, let me ask you something.
Okay.
Who's better, Trubisky or Jalen Hurts?
Jalen Hurts.
I'm going Jalen Hurts.
I disagree.
That's a terrible take.
No, that's not actually. You called
what are we
Jalen Hurts
talking
better
about?
than Matt Ryan, bro.
Yeah, a cent tweet.
That's ridiculous.
Yo, that was hilarious.
That's even more
I
ridiculous.
was cracking up.
I knew
Jalen Hurts will never be an MVP, bro.
No, okay, but I'm saying right now, going to 2022,
He's
I'd rather
not-
have Jalen Hurts.
No, you would be one of the worst GMs in football.
Yeah, you wish.
I'm Joe Douglas.
14th.
You're. I don't know who you are.
You
All right,
can
here we
never
go.
say you're Joe Douglas. Take that back.
Let's name them. I'm gonna name mediocre quarterbacks. You tell me if you're taking Mitch Trubisky or this guy. All right,
Okay.
Matt Ryan,
Matt Ryan, of course.
Derek Carr,
Derek Carr.
Derek Carr. Of
Ryan
course.
Tannehill.
Tannehill. Actually, it's the closer than you think, but Tannehill.
Okay, Jimmy G,
That's close.
Jalen Hurts,
Hurts.
Trubisky.
Wow.
Teddy Bridgewater.
Trubisky.
I might lean.
I think Teddy.
I might take Teddy. Mac Jones,
Mac.
Mac.
Tua,
Trubisky.
Tua.
Baker Mayfield.
It's close. It really is close.
It is.
I think I'm taking Baker.
I also think I'm taking Baker.
And Carson Wentz.
Wentz.
It's close.
Taking Wentz.
That's really
Yeah, to
close
me, Trubisky's in that 22 to 26 range.
yeah, Trubisky's in
Like
14.
Bro, 14 was ludicrous. Even 15, like 16 to 18, bro. Oh, man.
Now I was bugging. 16 to 20, though.
All right.
I mean, 14 to 16 is not a huge jump.
No, it is because 14, 15 is like Ryan and Tannehill. Then the next batch is like Mac Jones, Hurts, and all those other guys.
Oh,
And
geez.
Jimmy G and stuff.
Okay, 14 anyhow. So two of our good friends, me and Drew, you met Joey, obviously had us on the podcast.
Yeah.
They're both Steelers fans, right? And our friend Jer. So over this last week, they've just been talking strictly to Deshaun Watson. It's just been in our group chat, just Deshaun Watson for a week straight. And I respect it. They wanted to go out. Drew manifested
Manifest.
Russ.
I tried to get them
he
on
told
that
our
right
boys,
mindset.
manifest Deshaun Watson to Pittsburgh. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. I feel bad for Steelers fans. I really do, because on one hand, you had this great run for 15 years with Ben where you were competitive year in and year out. You were making Super Bowls, playoff appearances, AFC championships. Big Ben was a top 5 quarterback. You had great weapons. You still do. But you go and you sign Mitch Trubisky, and you sign him on day one nonetheless. You don't even tap into the Carson Wentz market. It seems like you don't even try for Deshaun Watson. Jimmy G, you're not really turned on by, even though I agree if he can't throw it till August, I'm not really in on Jimmy G either. But you go out and you sign Mitchell Trubisky first day, really within the first hour or two of free agency, and everyone was shocked because we expected Mitch to sign, but I don't think anyone saw Pittsburgh as the destination, because that tells me that he's the clear starter, right? They gave him a decent contract. I think it was 2 years, $14 million. So not guaranteed starter, but I think we all project him to outbeat Mason Rudolph.
Talking about Trubisky, that's
Yeah.
a great contract.
Yeah, for sure. I think most of us were expecting him to go to a spot where he has to earn the job. And to me, even though the Steelers are going to say he has to compete with Mason Rudolph,
It's against
he's not
Dwayne
gonna,
Haskins and Rudolph.
Yeah, but we
He's
know
gonna win that.
who's going to win that.
Let's hope.
He will win that.
Nah, he's
I'm-
going to win it. He's going to win it.
I was low on Ben last year, right? I thought he was one of the worst quarterbacks in the league. But if you look at Ben's stats last year and Mitch Trubisky's stats from his last year starting in 2019, they're not that far off. I mean, you look at 2019 Mitch, 2021 Ben. Mitch had 3,100 yards, but was 13th in attempts. Ben had 600 more yards, but was 6th in attempts. Trubisky, 63% completion percentage. Ben, 64%. Trubisky had a 17 to 10 touchdown interception ratio. Ben, 22 to 10 interception ratio. Trubisky had a quarterback rating of 93. Ben had a quarterback rating of 87. And then if you want to look at his deep ball ability, which Mitch was terrible at,
He's not good at deep balls, no.
Mitch was god awful. He completed 16% of his passes for 5 touchdowns and 7 interceptions, while Ben completed 30% of his passes for 6 touchdowns and 3 interceptions. So the whole Mitch is better than Big Ben.
He is.
Maybe marginally better, but even still, the
Gotta remember
athleticism.
he was on the Bears.
I know.
You have to understand also, you're not even taking into account his athletic ability.
I was just about to say his athleticism, without a doubt, because Ben was the least mobile quarterback in the NFL. But when you look at the yards, the touchdown interception, the quarterback rating, the completion percentage. They're basically on par with each other. Now, Mitch does give you the ability to have a mobile quarterback, and that definitely helps because Ben couldn't move at all, and that's going to limit your offense.
Yeah.
But I just look at all of the moves the rest of this division has made. The Ravens went out, made 3 huge signings. The Bengals, who just made the Super Bowl, upgraded the offensive line. The Browns are in talks to get Deshaun Watson. So you have your entire division making huge moves, and you go with the safe. Is he safe? I don't even know what you want to call it, but an option that has very limited upside to me. I don't see Mitch Trubisky having a top 15 season. I don't think that's in his range of outcomes. I think that is in the range of outcomes for a guy like Carson Wentz, who could be that 13 to 15 range, still in the back end. But to me, Mitch is just someone that you're kind of saying he's not going to screw everything up, but he's also not going to elevate anyone above me. The one thing I will say is this makes more sense if they take a quarterback in the first round. If they do get whoever their QB1 is, if it's Malik Willis or Pickett, whoever it might be, then I like it more because at least you have someone who could start for a year or possibly even going into their second season, the first few games while that guy develops. And that I could get behind because at least you have a plan. Right now, this is a bad Band-Aid. This is a Band-Aid that's going to fall off your finger in 20 minutes maybe because the AFC is stacked. Your division is stacked. You're basically telling your fans, we're going to come in last this year. We're probably going to come in last next year because our division is loaded, the AFC is loaded, and they're not going to compete.
But let's think about it like this. People definitely didn't expect the Steelers to be in the playoffs this season, and they were a playoff team regardless. Now, I don't disagree with a lot of what you said. What you said is facts. Mitch Trubisky is not the best quarterback by any means. He's barely the word good. At best, he's at best average.
Yes.
Now, I'll say it like this. In this situation specifically, on a team that has a bad offensive line that definitely took strides to better it this offseason, would you have rather the Steelers look into a Jimmy Garoppolo? Or would you rather them and look at Jimmy Garoppolo and pay the $20 million, or look at a guy like Mitch Trubisky, pay him $7 million, a guy who has taken a year to learn underneath one of the better quarterbacks in the league, be in a group with one of the better offensive minds in Brian Daboll, and take that risk with a guy who has upside in the sense of he's a mobile quarterback. He's not the best passer by any means, but Deontay Johnson showed that he does not need the best passing quarterback to be successful. The one weapon that I do look at that does need a good quarterback or a great quarterback to really elevate their game would be Mapletron, Chase Claypool. He needs someone that's going to let the ball fly downfield, really make explosive type plays because he's an explosive type wide receiver. Najee Harris, and I'm sure he's looking at this in the sense of, I got someone who's going to feed me the ball.
But Mitch actually checked down at a very low rate last time he started.
But you still have to understand, at this point in time, he has to have taken in some new kind of knowledge.
2018?
I have to find
he
the
looked
tweet.
up 2019. That's his 2019 numbers.
Season.
Tariq
his
Cohen
last
was out for the year.
Maybe that plays into it.
And I'm just
because
thinking,
Tariq Cohen had a really great receiving year.
He was phenomenal.
And I'm just also taking in the fact that Najee Harris is one of the more exciting young running backs in the league, and he can do it both in between the tackles and also in the receiving end. We saw it with Big Ben last year. He relied heavily on Najee Harris's receiving ability for any type of offensive production. Now, yes, in the grand scheme of things, it does not look great on the Steelers' part, given the fact that you have teams hungry for elite quarterback options, and you're one of them. You should be a big player on the market for a guy like Deshaun Watson. If the Browns are willing to change the landscape of their franchise for this guy, Deshaun Watson, you should be in that mix as well. There's no excuse. But I do agree, this is the best situation Mitch could have been put in. He has an ex-wide receiver in Deontay Johnson. He has a solid weapons room with Chase Claypool, Freiermuth, Najee Harris. These are guys that are great options. As a whole, this is one of the better weapons rooms in the NFL. Go ahead.
So from 2018 to 2020, Mitch had a checkdown rate of 3.5%, which ranked third lowest in the NFL during that time frame. So Cohen did have a great season, but even still, he had a very low checkdown rate while he was the starter.
But that's taking into account all 3 seasons.
That's a pretty big sample size.
I know, but it could have been really low in 2019 and 2020.
Like that 2018 season. Can you just find me the 2018 season?
I could look at his Cohen's receptions. I'll have to dig into it.
Okay. So just to wrap it all up, I don't think that this was a bad move by the Steelers. For the contract, If he outperforms it, you guys look like geniuses. If not, you take the bite in the arm. It is what it is. You move on. You draft a quarterback like you mentioned, Malik Willis, or Pickett. What's his first name? I'm blanking on his first name. Kenny Pickett. Then I really don't mind because listen, it's a contract that has very low risk but high reward. You have 2 years with this guy underneath your belt, and if he outperforms that contract, you guys look brilliant. I feel like this is a no-brainer.
Listen, I have a soft spot for people in general that get scapegoated when things go wrong. There's no other position in sports that gets scapegoated as much as the quarterback position. I think Mitch Trubisky, I think he's average. And I've been saying, I don't think he's good. He's average. But there's no doubt in my mind that he was scapegoated in Chicago. And it's showing right now. They're about to ruin another quarterback in Justin Fields. They have given him no help.
One thing I will say about Tariq Cohen 2018 season, well, he lined up in the backfield on 320 snaps. He had 170 snaps at wide receiver, which played a big part into why he had such a good receiving season.
What were his numbers?
In the slot, yeah.
Like receiving numbers?
Yeah.
You gotta give me a sec.
Yards.
And receptions.
Yards, mister.
He had a great year that year. Then, I mean, he's been hurt he didn't play at all last season, or I think in 2020.
That was huge because
in 2018 he had 71 receptions, 725 yards.
Almost had 1K.
He's a beast. At least that
Pro
season
Bowler.
he was a beast. Yeah, deservingly so.
All pro. Maybe this is probably like return man or something though.
He actually had more receptions in 2019.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, he had 79, but for far less yards, only 456.
Yep.
Interesting. So what do we think?
Respect Mitch, man.
What do we think? Pittsburgh wild card?
No.
They're gonna be in the hunt.
I'm gonna say no as well.
I think they win 7 games.
I'm gonna say no as well, but I do believe that Trubisky is gonna show flashes.
I think this might be.
He's gonna have a good year.
I think this might be Tomlin's first losing season.
I don't think so.
You think they win 9 games?
That's the main reason why I can't get on board because Mike Tomlin and the winning culture of the Steelers is going to motivate him to a degree to play up to what everyone had these expectations of. Mike Tomlin's a different type of energy.
He is, for sure. That's
You know
the only
what I'm
reason
saying?
we're giving them any
Also,
chance.
just to bring this up as well, the Steelers signed Miles Jack. They have Devin Bush. They brought in Brian Flores to be the linebackers coach.
Bounce back seasons for them, hopefully.
Both of them can have big time years.
Very interesting.
They can have big time years.
Jack was 2 years, $16 million, so not like they invested a ton. I mean, they used a first round pick on Devin, but
Devin was good his rookie year though until he tore his ACL.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have minded if the Broncos brought in Miles Jack. Miles Jack still has something to prove.
I bet.
Come on.
Yeah, you have no linebackers.
I mean, we all say that about our teams.
We need a linebacker. Bobby, please.
Need a safety, a corner.
We don't need a safety. Desperate. Like, we don't need it.
Who's gonna if Kareem Jackson walks? Who's your starting safety?
No, they don't. They
We have
don't.
Justin.
I know, but you have 2 safeties.
We'll live.
Caden Stearns.
Okay.
No, he's good. I'm telling you, he's good.
He's like that.
He was a third round pick. They drafted him in 2021. He's a good safety.
We draft amazingly outside of the quarterback. Now we don't have to worry about that for apparently 10 to 12 seasons.